So here is our agenda for the week. We'll kind of recap probability today. Get a couple slides of recap. We'll pass out the practice quiz for chapter 13. You'll finish it up for homework. All right. We'll have some class time to work on it. Some time to finish it. Well, you'll have to finish it for homework. We'll go over it tomorrow in class. The quiz will be on Wednesday, and then we'll start the OST, the Ohio State testing, and of course testing practice specific to probability. For some reason, and I think we've had this talk before, but for some reason, when they give us the breakdown of what's on the state test for geometry, about 20 to 25% is probability, and it's like, well, that doesn't make sense, right? And we think we had that talk. The frustration. They don't ask my opinion, right? When you think of geometry, you probably think of shapes and trigonometry and angles and triangles and all that sort of stuff that we've done. Proofs. Probability is pretty low on the list, but they didn't ask my opinion. They just put it on there, so we will review it. We'll spend a couple days reviewing on that. Tally.
What day is the Ohio State test for math?
For math, it's April 19th and 20th. So, do you guys help me out, freshmen? Do you take the English OST this year? Just math this year? But your schedule will be affected. Okay, that'll be. I think the English OST is next week.
It's the first week.
All right. So that will be. There must be something between.
Oh, there's
Science second week.
biology. I thought biology was English.
Science is easy.
No, English and math are really easy.
Yeah. So actually, U.S. history and government that doesn't affect freshmen. All right. Now your schedules will be modified, so we'll talk about that some other day, not today. All right. So we'll have a couple weeks to review for the test. We'll do some practice problems and just discuss how it's a little bit different than what we've done. All right? They like to ask things a little differently. Homework. I'm going to scroll down. I don't think you've had a chance to check 7 and 8. Some of you chose not to do 7 and 8. Olivia, did you find it?
I did 7.
What? She didn't bring that later.
It's
I texted her when she was over here.
Mr. Westphal, do I get partial credit? I found this. I asked 3 questions.
I have a lot of questions.
Do I get partial credit?
I did exactly half.
I had this, but I did
So Jack.
Good job.
All right. Any questions on the classwork from before break? Here's what I would strongly recommend. Okay. I'm going to put up some bell work right now. And so take out your notebooks. This is just to practice right now. We'll do some bell work. Here's what I would strongly recommend. If you totally forget everything we've done in probability, you might want to go back and rewatch some of the videos. All right. As we do quiz review, some of it you may be like, oh yeah, I remember how to do that. I'm fine. Other stuff, it's like, I don't know that I've ever seen this in my life. Okay. And if that's the case, how do we want to go back and review? All right, quick refresher. I'm not going to do number 1 for you, but I will help you. That word complement. What was like the complement event? Like, say the probability that I roll a 3 is 1/6. Describe the complement. 5/6, right? Or in words, what's the complement of rolling a 3? Not in numbers, in words. Not rolling a 3, right? Remember how complement was the 1 minus the probability of the event happening? It was everything else in the probability. Now, you don't have to write all these out word for word unless you're that person, all right? If you're like, oh yeah, I need to. My own sanity, that's fine. This is recorded. This is just bell work. I want you guys to just walk through these and try them out, okay? So, what's our answer for number 1? What is the complement of drawing a red card from a deck? Now, I don't know that this is worded perfectly like I would on a quiz. Let's describe the complement in words. Who can raise their hand and tell me what's the complement of drawing a red card in words? Ryan. Drawing a black card. Now, if you're that person that was like, well, I thought you meant what's the probability of the complement of that event, then it would be probability of a black card or probability of not red. Both of those are the same, right? Worded a little differently, they mean the same thing, and the probability is 1/2. Yeah. Did you put? You might have put 26 out of 52, which reduces to 1/2. I'll go back through the quiz as I make it and make sure that I word it. I tell you whether I want the fraction reduced or not. Sometimes it's nice to have it reduced. Sometimes it's helpful to not have it reduced. For example, remember how we did probability of this or that happening? We had to add them together and then subtract off the overlap. You don't want to reduce right away or else your denominators are going to get all messed up. When you add and subtract fractions, you want them to have common denominators. So you want to leave them unreduced and then possibly reduce at the end. Okay? What is a set of mutually exclusive events in a deck of cards? Who can remind us of mutually exclusive? Olivia.
Like not at the same time.
Right. So let's discuss. We're drawing some cards. What is a set of mutually exclusive events in a deck of cards? Remember? Black and red, right? Drawing a black. Drawing, oh my goodness, a red. Drawing a 6. Drawing a 7. Drawing an 8. Drawing a heart. No, right? Why are those not mutually exclusive? Because there is a 8 of hearts, right? There's an 8. That's also a heart. Overlap. Not mutually exclusive. In a deck of cards, what is the probability of drawing a red card, replacing it, and drawing a heart? Is this going to be multiplication of? Do you agree one's happening after another, right? So we're going to multiply them, add them. Tally, what do you think?
Multiply the two events.
Good. So we're going to do, if you'd like to write it out to help yourself get set up, you might write it out as P of red times P of H. That's P of hearts. Now, because there's replacing it, we don't need to adjust the denominator, do we? Because we're not taking out a card from the deck, we're replacing it. Now, on your review today, you're going to see me describe how many in a deck of cards, how many hearts, all that sort of stuff, all the numbers, okay? So that way you're like, I don't want to be at a disadvantage here because I don't know decks of cards. So we're going to have to talk about this now because I don't have it up here, but how many reds are in the deck? First of all, how many cards are in the deck? 52. How many reds?
26.
26, good. So the first event is 26 out of 52. Or I'm going to put underneath it reduced 1/2 times, what's the probability of drawing a heart? How many hearts are there? Do you remember? 13, good. Times 13 out of 52. And if you're reducing these from the get-go, 13 out of 52 is 1/4. So you can either multiply these together unreduced and then reduce it, or if you've reduced them already correctly, then your final answer will be reduced. Be careful. 1/2 times 1/4. 1/8. Good. So this would also be 1/8. Now, this would be in a case where I would want the answer reduced. That number, when you multiply these together, is going to be huge. The numerator and denominator are going to be pretty big. It's not going to be very helpful in context to say, I don't really know that. Like, I don't really recognize that fraction, how likely that is. 1/8, I think we can all say, oh yeah, 1 out of 8. That makes a lot more sense here. All right, next one. Probability of drawing a club or a jack. First of all, when we go to write this out, are we going to add or multiply these? Add, right? And then we always want to consider subtracting off the overlap if we counted too much. So as we write this out, probability of drawing a club plus the probability of drawing a jack minus the probability of a club, is it and or a jack? It's what's the overall probability is P of club or jack, correct? Equals probability of a club plus the probability of a jack minus the and. What's the and? The and is the overlap, right? Yes? So the formula for or probability. The or probability formula is that P of the first plus P of the second minus P of both, right? P of the overlap. Well, what's the probability of the club? Let's put them reduced. 1/4 plus probability of the jack. How many jacks are there? Maybe I'm sorry. Let's leave them unreduced first. All right. How many clubs are there? 13. Out of? Good. 13 out of 52. Plus, how many jacks are there? 4 out of 52. Minus, where is it both a club and a jack? McKenna.
I have a different question.
Okay, hang tight for 1 second. Yeah, what is it? It's the jack of clubs, right? There's a jack that is also a club, and there's only one of them. Minus the 1 out of 52 that we over-counted. Now, this is where I was pointing out that we have common denominators here. Let's go ahead and add. 13 plus 4 is 17. Minus 1 is 16. Out of 52. And that does reduce. What does that reduce into? Say it again. 4/13. McKenna, question.
So if we get like questions like this in the test, are you gonna give us like are you gonna tell us how many cars?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna just in words. There's 13 hearts, 13 spades, 13 clubs, 13 diamonds. 4. I'm not sure if I'm gonna word it all out. I haven't completely finished and printed them out yet, the quizzes, but overall, I'll just give you a printout of a deck of cards. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what would be easiest for the layout on the quiz. Other questions? All right. So just a quick recap. That symbol means and, intersection. We think of where it's both, right? This is an or symbol. It's called a union. It's where either A or B will happen. And then this is the one I wanted to also review. This is P of A given B. We did that right before break. Probability of A given that B has already happened. And that was I want you to go back to the flipping a coin and rolling a die example. All right. Remember, what's the probability of rolling a 3 given that I've already flipped a head? 1/6. Why? Because the head had to get flipped before I even roll the die, right? So isn't it just the probability that the second event happens, right? If they are independent events. Now, we also saw that in two-way tables. So here's another example, all right, of a two-way table. Do we need to review this, or do we feel comfortable with this before break? How many of you are comfortable with this? Good, you got it. All right. I will tell you what. I will pass out the quiz reviews. Those of you who are comfortable can get started on it. If you want more review, we will go ahead and do this. All right.
Well, I mean, obviously, we have to.
Yeah, I know, you didn't sign out. Flavor phase. One or two.
That's a lot of guns.
No. I thought two was standard.
All right. Just in case some of you might be daydreaming, is this for homework if you don't finish it?
Oh, you mean Oh, no matter what.
Something stressful, that's the only time I actually.
Oh, you're talking about that? Yeah.
I also. It happens. Everyone's